Hi, today we are going to be learning how to solve absolute value equations and inequalities for our third day in our 35 days of class. First, we are going to be learning how to solve absolute values in equations. These are the steps. We have to isolate the absolute value expression, set the quantity inside the absolute value notations that to equal to a positive or a negative on either side of the equations, solve for the unknown in both equations, and then you can check your answer at the end. This is one of our examples. So for this equation, we are going to separate these. We're going to make two equations out of this. So you're going to do that by writing the original first. And then you're going to write the opposite of the original, which would be this. The ending number should be a negative. So this would be two opposites of each other. Now you would just solve it as if it was a normal equation. We would take away 3 on both sides. And the 3 would cancel out each other. And then 5 take away 3 would equal to non-negative 2 equal to 2x. And then you would divide 2 on both sides and x would equal to 1. This would be just one of our answers, because then for this side, our second equation, negative 5 plus negative 3 would equal to negative 8 equal to 2x. Then 2 divided by 2 cancel out. X would be alone. Then negative 8 divided by negative 8 divided by 2 would equal to negative 4. And one of our answers would be 1. Our second answer would be negative 4. These two is our answers. Okay, and now moving on to our second example. Oops. This is our second example. As you can see, there is now a number in front of the absolute value. So first, what we would do is, well, we would have to add 10 to both sides to cancel out this number first. And then it will equal to 21. And then you are going to divide on both sides, meaning these two numbers. So we'll divide 3, and then this will cancel out by itself. And then you would get a simpler equation. But we're not done yet. So as in, now we would have to split this one equation. So we would have this as our new original. And then we would have our opposite of our new original equation, which would be negative 7. And now we would just solve as if it was a normal equation. Add 2 to both sides. And our 2 would be canceled. Okay. X would now equal to 9. And now this is one of our answers. And then x here would equal to negative 5. So our ending result, these two would be our two answers. Now, take your time and you try out with these 3 equations for yourself as your practice. And now I'm going to pass on our absolute value and inequalities to Ivy.
Okay, so such as what Caitlin said, you're supposed to isolate the absolute variable expression on the left side of the equality, and what that means is because it's an absolute value, there's 2 ways. It could either be negative or positive. So what you want to do is separate them into 2 sections. Let's go to slide 7. Okay, for this example, we will have absolute value 2x plus 3, and absolute value is less than 6. And the other side would be the same thing except negative 6. Okay, so we solve it just as we did with the previous ones. So for the positive 6, we would do 2x, we would subtract 3 on both sides of the equation. So you would have 2x is less than positive 3. Subtract both sides by 2. And you will have x is less than 3 over 2. Now it's the same thing for the other side. You would subtract 3 on both sides. So you would have 2x is less than negative 9. You divide both sides by 2, but be careful now, because since it's a negative, you want to switch the sign. So it'll be x is greater than negative 3. Yes, that's your final answer. You want to make sure you have 2 answers. It's the same thing for this one. So what you want to do is add positive 3 on both. Oops, sorry, I meant you have to separate into 2 sides. So absolute value 2x minus 3 is greater than 5. And for the other, it would be absolute value 2x minus 3 is greater than negative 5. So we'd solve it the exact same way. You add 3 on both sides. So you'd have 2x is greater than positive 8. You divide by 2 on both sides, and you get x is greater than 4. Same thing for the other side. You add 3 on both sides. So you'd have 2x is greater than negative 2. Divide 2 by both sides, but same thing for the other one. You want to switch the sign, so it'll be x is less than negative 1. Those are your 2 final answers. Okay, so this is your turn. We will be submitting the answer keys on the Google Classroom, so make sure you join that. So for what we did today, we solved the inequalities. We were able to separate it into 2 equations. Since it's an absolute value, you want to make sure you have one for the negative value and the positive value. So make sure you have 2 answers at the end.
And that is all for class. Good day, good night. Have fun, whatever you're doing for the rest of your day.